Today I'm going to show you a Ferrum Forge design knife that just looks and feels way more expensive than it actually is. This is from SENCUT and it's called the Kyril. Now, up on the screen are going to be some specs, and they're all measurements I went ahead and took myself, but I'll also list them for you down in that description, along with the links to buy and the coupon codes. Okay, tabletop. If you're not familiar with Ferrum Forge, these are the same guys that made knives like, well, the Stinger, the Prolix, and the Civivi Odium. Oh yeah, the Gent, that's also one of theirs. Oh, and can you tell? Yeah, I am just like absolutely in love with these little knife stands. I mean, I bought a ton of them. I'll include a link in the description, you know, if you're interested. I absolutely love showing knives like this on the channel because, you know, if you had no idea what brand it is or what blade steel it has, you know, you would think without a doubt that it was like a $75 to $80 knife, especially once you see that maker's mark there. I mean, I know I did because, you know, right when I got it out of the box, I went ahead and deployed that blade. Oh, and I was just like, whoa. Now, keep in mind, at this point, I still had no idea that it was a Ferrum Forge design, but, you know, it kind of makes sense that I'd like this right out of the gate because I am a huge fan of their stuff. This liner lock has such a good-looking sheepsfoot blade, which comes in at 3.19 inches long in a 9 CR18 MOV steel with a flat grind and, of course, black stonewash finish. So I love the size because, you know, some budget Ferrum Forge knives can be pretty small with blade lengths of like 3 inches or less. And they put such a nice factory edge on this thing. I mean, it's even, as you can see, on both sides. So if you know anything about Ferrum Forge designs, I mean, they really know how to incorporate a full-size 50-50 finger choil, you know, without losing too much of that sharpened edge. Most of the time, I don't want my like sheepsfoot or Wharncliffe bladed knives to have flippers because, you know, it affects the cutting angle and then it's going to reduce, you know, the amount of edge that I can actually use, you know, when working on a flat surface like a countertop. So if you're going to have a flipper on this type of blade, this is the way to go because they kept it small and, you know, half of that choil cuts into the back of that flipper tab, which, you know, gives it like that good looking like hook shape. Even the action feels expensive. I mean, it is just so very difficult for me to fail the deployment. And man, I have been trying. So yeah, this detent strength is just right. And the ball bearings in the pivot are going to be ceramic, which, you know, you can actually tell like right away because of how smooth. Look at this. How smooth that friggin' blade just drops shut. Oh, and in case you're wondering, yeah, that blade is perfectly centered. And then there is, and I checked it, oh, there is zero play in any direction. At 4.12 inches long, the blade to handle ratio is very good. And, you know, other than like the lanyard hole, you know, there isn't much wasted space here on the handle. It's just as big as it needs to be, which, you know, really does keep the overall size pretty compact. So the handle is long enough, you know, for my medium-sized hand where, you know, I don't have to use that forward choil, you know, to fit all my fingers. The G10 scales are comfortable with some great traction, which does give me a pretty confident grip. I know this might sound kind of weird, but I actually do prefer back spacers over, you know, barrel spacer construction because, you know, they help to kind of protect that edge, you know, when the blade is closed and you're kind of storing it, you know, let's say in like a shallow drawer with the rest of your collection next to it. It really does keep it from getting dinged up. The handle here is a very impressive, get this, 0.40 inches thick, which, believe it or not, is like the exact same thickness of the handle. Yeah, on the Benchmade bug out. So needless to say, yeah, you will barely notice this in pocket. We do get, you know, SENCUT standard, a 2-position deep carry clip. And honestly, I just have one like super minor gripe. I mean, in fact, it's so minor, I don't even know if I should mention it, but if these liners were skeletonized, this would be one of those rare knives that like weighs less than 1 ounce per blade inch. I sure don't have many knives like that. So yes, this is one of, if not the cheapest Ferrum Forge design out there at $42 on Amazon, which, man, that is even less than this odium. Just in case, you weren't sure where I was going to land with this thing by, how much I've been gushing over it throughout this video. Yeah, I highly recommend it because, you're getting a good looking, bench-made bug out size knife that is going to take up very little room in pocket with a full-size forward finger choil, great action, and that's all at an unbeatable price. Right about now, there's a video up on the screen that I personally picked out for you to go ahead and watch next. And hey, if you haven't already, consider subscribing if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. All right, I got to run, but hey, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.